What's up, everybody? It's Saturday. You know what that means. It's Doctor and LoveDi back on the caster desk, bringing you some Ascension eSports Elder League. How you doing today, LoveDi?
I'm doing pretty good. Glad we had to wait a full 20 minutes to figure that one out, but we're finally getting into Champion Select, and I'm looking forward to a best of three, taken to all three games, neck and neck matchup right now.
Yeah, and today we do have the Savage Desperados on the blue side facing off against Toxic Kittens. So how about we do a rundown here? We got Savage Desperados with VR Consig as an E-sub. Hi, I'm Sourbar. Mayo
As an EE sub.
Is it as an EE sub?
He is beyond the emergency sub to the point where he hadn't even heard of Ascension eSports until 2 minutes ago.
That is not true. But anyway...
Wait, do we know who he is?
A very bard name and Reader Rabbit.
Okay.
I know who VR Consig was. I played with him back in House Party, and I find it extremely hard to believe he doesn't actually know who Ascension is.
Oh, I meant Sourbar. I was under the belief that he's literally from one of the 4 other players' friends lists.
Oh, Sourbar? Yeah, he might be. I wasn't actually paying attention to chat. But no, Consig, we know Consig.
Yeah, no.
But then on the Toxic Kitten side, we got Spectrum in the top side, Droziki in the jungle, Kina running it down mid, Xylophone in the AD carry spot, and Samano 03 on support.
I feel like there was some slight variation in those names, but I mean, who's going to test the accuracy of that? We can see we are actually now finally getting to the ban phase with these emergency subs finally being finished. First ban going to be Orianna in the mid lane. They want to take that away from Kina, who is, of course, sub in the mid lane. So he is technically an AD carry main. He can always play Lucian or Corki in the mid. So.
Corki is just absolutely disgusting on this patch. It's to a point where you could actually one-shot your opposing like AD carry, and they just simply can't do anything about it because you have a rapid fire cannon. But with Jace being banned away, this is the Malzahar lock-in. Where is this going though, LoveDi?
Mid lane.
Is it a mid lane?
Actually, because Mayo his most played mid laner is in fact Malzahar, with Victor being a close second. So I'm going to assume that this is going to be a mid lane Malzahar for the first pick. He is, of course, pretty safe. He's got the passive that negates a lot of playmaking potential, and ever since the nerfs to Malzahar, he really hasn't been seen in the bottom lane.
True, and I mean, he's not fun to play against in the bottom lane because you do just take a ton of damage every 12 seconds or so. But I love this Jhin pickup for the Toxic Kittens. You know, we are seeing a lot of lethality in the current patch. 7.15 didn't really do anything to change it up. And if you can get an early Ghost Blade onto the Jhin, you can be doing 1,000 damage on your 4th shot by like 12 minutes. Wait.
Yeah. So we can see that Zed has been locked in return for, I'm assuming, the mid lane for Kina. They did have the Orianna target band away from him, but this is going to essentially be picking the Zed into Malzahar. Not really much you can do at level 6. Maybe he feels he can burst the targets. I can see there are some loud motorcycles in the background to give us some little ambiance. You probably muted your mic for that though.
Jesus,
but
criminy.
with Kha'Zix being locked in the jungle, that's going to be our first jungler of the game, and it's not a tank. Surprise, surprise.
Yeah, I think
That
we
is
actually
Lucian.
talked about this last week, how we were disappointed in the lack of tanks. But the Toxic Kittens, they may have heard our ramblings. That's a Zac pick, and that's... No, don't you do it. You did it, you filthy kitten. Bad.
Oh my goodness, spicy.
So, LoveDi, why in any possible reason would you pick Warwick over Zac on 7.15? You know, we have the Brambleback, we have, you know, the whole changes to Thornmail, and just tanks being ridiculously strong right now. Why?
Just one moment.
So I'll tell you why then, because LoveDi is predisposed. You don't. It's a bad pick. They don't live up to their names. But in more serious terms, Warwick is something that isn't really picked a lot outside of EU LCS, and we haven't even seen it since patch 7.14 really, where you can get some good ganks off pre-6 with new Warwick. You know, you have the Blood Scent, you can run into a lane, get on somebody, you have the Infinite Duress to lock down a singular target. And if we're looking at what we see already from Savage Desperados, the Malzahar, the Viger, and the Kazakhs, all of those are very nice targets you want to Infinite Duress, but Malzahar's going to have his shield that he can block a single ability with. If Viger can actually throw his Event Horizon up before the Infinite Duress comes in, then you can have some issues there. And when you're looking at it, you know, just what's the word I'm looking for? Ability-wise, between Warwick and Zac just brings so much more to the table, both pre-6 and after 6.
Oh god.
But
that's Nasus.
But
line picked top lane.
7.15 did bring us the Nasus changes. Now when he uses his ulting sands, he does get a 50% cooldown reduction onto his Q. There was one other change. Oh, they changed they changed Nasus's E from a percent-based armor magic resist shed.
Other way around. From a flat to a percent.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. It was flat, and they're changing it to a percentage. That's what I meant to say, anyway. I can't remember 30 seconds ago. But
anyway, that Zed is a placeholder for Lucian. I don't know if you were informed.
I was not.
It actually is Lucian into Malzahar. I was kind of kidding about Kina being a whole Lucian kind of player. Well, he's going to play it anyway into the Malzahar. I wonder if the Veigar is going to be a placeholder. Otherwise, we're going to be having like Malzahar top, Veigar mid. Getting pretty weird. But anyway, finally going to actually see what these picks are going to be coming to. As you mentioned before, why pick Warwick? Why pick Kazakhs when Zac is open? Really, it's hard to justify not picking Zac on arguably his strongest patch ever. And they're not banning the right champions once more. Unfortunately, they are not going to stick. But, you know, we can hopefully get past that. Anyway, Droziki, we've seen him series after series, manages to perform on the Warwick. Definitely very aggressive on the Warwick, knows his feelings and his capabilities for the most part. Jinx being locked in. I don't recall seeing Jinx in that first champion select.
Apparently because neither do the players.
Alright. Well, from what I remember from these teams and from a couple more teams in the Elder League, we're never going to have a very smooth champion select go down. So, going to have them swap around in order again. We're going to have to start up the champion select again, go through the first ban phase. We can talk about at least one matchup I suppose just the roles themselves. We did see the Nasus get locked in. Let's talk a little bit about that. Have you seen the Nasus changes in action yet? Has anybody played that yet?
I have. It is okay. It didn't really feel that good. Like, my team did win with it once we got past like 25 minutes, but definitely struggled in lane because his lane changes were not that fantastic. I believe he was actually playing against Urgot too, which if you've played new Urgot is crazy just in general. But I mean the 50% cooldown that you get once you ult is so crazy, especially if you go like a Trinity Force and get stacking and stuff like that. In all honesty, I wouldn't be surprised if Spectrum, gets alone time with like a large enough wave, actually ults and uses it to farm Q stacks.
He's done crazier things in the top lane before, but really, the changes so far to Nasus have not really shored up the issues with playing Nasus. He still gets kited very easily. Now he's actually lost a lot of control early on with the Emax start. You're basically shoehorned into taking the level ups over and over again. We can see that Gnar has been picked up in the top lane. A nice pick into the Nasus, because as soon as level 2, you can really start poking out that Nasus, and especially with the changes to the E. Yes, it will scale up in the future. Once Gnar gets to that 3 or 4 item point, will definitely start to be affected by the armor reduction from that E, but before then, really maxing E, going a couple of Doran's rings, that strategy has really been put to the wayside with those changes. So yes, the stacking could definitely be more effective. Yes, his level 6 is slightly stronger, but he's definitely more prone to getting poked out because he's really forced to go into that stacking style, that farm heavy play style.
The level 6 will also be pretty interesting because with both of them having their ultimates, if Gnar doesn't get a clean combo, then it can start actually running the other way because Wither's going to be there, a percentage shred is going to be there, and having Q up every, let's see, at level 6 it should probably be, what, around 3 to 4 seconds with the 50%?
Honestly, I haven't played it myself, and I haven't really noticed a real change because in the past, when a Nasus at 300, 400 stacks gets on top of you, chances are he'll kill you. And if he doesn't, then he won't kill you. 50% is team fighting has become a little bit stronger, but I'm not quite convinced on the changes yet. We're really going to see how it performs with the rest of the team. He doesn't have a lot of CC to back him up, mostly soft CC. His Wither, of course, the Jhin, W, and Ultimate as soft initiations as well. Warwick maybe can dive in, and of course the Taric, strong initiator, but it's not really the kind of heavy kind of chain CC style you'd want to see with a Nasus, and he doesn't have anything to speed up either. So really, I'm going to expect to see a decent amount of trouble if they opt for the 5v5 for this Nasus to really get into those team fights and deal the damage he wants to deal with these changes.
Yeah, this Toxic Kitten draft phase, I can't help but feel like they lost the draft. Gnar's going to be bullying Nasus all day, all game, going that Black Cleaver into Frozen Mallet build path, just going to be running Nasus down the lane. The Kha'Zix is going to have a bit more proactivity in the early game, going to be able to get in and out of lanes a bit faster. We'll probably see top lane a lot just due to Gnar being such a bully. The Malzahar-Lucian matchup can be very interesting, but Malzahar's going to have that pick potential late game.
I would like to actually expand on that a little bit more. We've talked about in previous casts, of course, the Lucian mid, right? The strongest bully in the mid lane you can pick, maybe very closely followed by the Corki or something like that. But I really like, even though this Malzahar was a first pick, blind pick, I do like the idea behind it, because think about the trade pattern for Lucian mid. Typically, you want to abuse the skill shots that the enemy mid laner might throw out. You dash out of them, dash forward aggressively, get your full combo out, deal a ton of damage with those double shots. But Malzahar probably won't mind that nearly as much because the initial damage from the trade will be nullified by his passive, and the longer you stay in that medium range, basically the auto-attacking range for the Lucian, the better, because Malzahar is going to lay down the Malefic Visions and then start spawning those Voidlings, and those Voidlings, they stack up damage very fast if you don't have the mobility to get away from them. That's going to mean we have to see Kina adapt to that in the trading. If he continues to go for the very basic trading patterns, the aggressive dashing forward, we might see that get punished by a mid laner like Malzahar.
Yes, and once the junglers start coming in as well, you know, that mid-jungle synergy that everybody's been talking about this season, the Kha'Zix brings a bit more in the earlier game to the table, and if Warwick gets unlucky, can actually, in a way, get that Infinite Duress blocked by the Malzahar passive, and then if that happens, you're just dead in the water, realistically. I mean, looking at this bot lane, Draven Rakan is going to smash Jhin Taric. Dravens, they've been going the death stance lately. You know, you've mentioned it a time or two, that 30% damage reduction, essentially, just because of the way the item it works and the changes to it. Jhin is going to have a very hard time getting his lethality items, getting to a point where he can consistently fourth shot and safely set up the curtain call.
Really, I don't see either team having the best of times in a 5v5. Yes, the Savage Desperados do have much clearer initiation paths. Of course, Gnar in his Mega Gnar form, always a formidable opponent. Always have to be watching out, making sure you keep track of that rage before you get womboed down. Rakan, one of the most slippery supports, manages to slip in and out. Of course, the quickening helping with that as well. And Malzahar being a point-and-click suppression, definitely going to be hard to deal with, considering there aren't actually a lot of tools to cancel that ultimate to begin with anyway on the side of the Toxic Kittens. But at the same time, you really have to make sure when you initiate for either team, you initiate correctly, that you definitely get the pick you want to get at the start, and that you manage to follow comms very clearly, because if you don't manage to burst down one target on either side pretty early on, there's going to be a lot of longer cooldowns burned in that case. Really, I guess, just like every other game, comes down to execution. And we're going to have to see who can execute better as we start loading into the game now.
Yeah, it does creep in the back of my mind, and I've said this week in, week out, meta is meta for a reason, and it's a little confusing why the teams just consistently seem like they're trying to avoid meta picks. Like, instead of picking the Gragas, Zac, Sejuani, Cho'Gath, we're getting Gnar, Nasus, Kha'Zix, and Warwick.
Yeah, again, a little bit more unusual in a draft phase than one might expect looking at the professional scene, but then again, this is Elder League. We don't have to follow the meta to a T. We can always shift picks around. There's definitely some priority picks in it. Rosicky and Kina in particular, Mayo as well, are all on comfort picks. They should be pretty good on these champions. They definitely have some experience on them. Something we didn't talk about though is Taric might be able to cover some of the weaknesses in the Jhin versus Draven matchup. You look at something like Draven versus Jhin initially, you just think, well, yes, Jhin can go in for those fourth shot crits early on, but as soon as he burns that fourth shot, Draven will go in for the better of the trade. Well, so now Draven might not be able to do that. That run forward style to try and land multiple swinging axes, because Taric might be ready to stun you the second you move forward.
Yeah, the new Dazzle will definitely be an interesting play in this lane. Rakan also wanting to just run straight in as well can cause some issues, but Rakan with the Ignite, Lucian with the Ignite, it's a little different. Yeah, well, Kina has the expected one. You know, we're expecting Ignite Lucian because they want to get that early kill, need to get that like level 2 power spike in and just dominate from there on out. In the bottom lane, however, we're kind of more used to seeing exhaust starts.
Yeah, looking into Summoner's spell choice, Exhaust versus Ignite. Kina really going with the most aggressive Summoner spell you can take. Take Ignite into that mid lane, maybe in the hopes of being able to burst down an unsuspecting Malzahar. It's going to be difficult though, like I mentioned, the trading pattern when playing against this Malzahar is just going to be a little bit different. We can see both junglers are starting the top side of their jungles on the buffs.
I do
One
have a question
jungler
for
received
you.
a leash and one didn't.
So typically we see
Oh, wait.
This is not good for Rosicky, taking crazy low. Just, forces the flash anyway, gets the counter flash. I am Sourbar with the auto attack. Gonna get that first blood though in the bottom lane. Knock up on to Xylophone. Does get the stun back on to the Rabbit, however.
That was just a hard read. He saw that the bottom lane did not leash, and he saw that the top lane did not leash. He assumed that was going to be a top lane start for the Warwick, and he just waited. He just straight up knew that that pink ward was going to be coming.
Ooh, 2-man knockup from Rita Rabbit. The stun is not going to connect. Dazzle gets whiffed, but Axe Galore coming out of very Bard named. There's so much damage. Has flash available, doesn't use it just yet. Loses both axes, however.
We can see this is one of the issues with going the Doran's Blade start on the Jhin. We've seen that start become less and less popular over time. A lot of pros have been opting for the Doran's Ring. Gives you 2 potions instead of 1. Nice mana sustain. You get to Q the wave a lot more. Uh-oh. Maybe getting a little too aggressive, though.
Boost. There's
Dazzle lands.
Deadly Flourish. 4th shot comes through. Xyleon picks up the kill. Exhaust lands.
There's still a heal.
To very Bard. Doing everything he can. Flashes away. Counter flash. Dancing Grenade for the double. And that is Xyleon winning the lane we said he would lose.
And that's a very volatile matchup in the bot lane. We could see, as I mentioned before, they get aggressive and they make it work. They're going to win those trades hardcore. It's Draven versus Jhin. But the second you misstep, of course, the Tara can punish that aggression very heavily. Some buffs to the dazzle damage means it's going to chunk on its own as well, but it looks like we get a gank in the mid lane.
Hi, I'm Sourbar. Just gonna walk up. Keenan knows he doesn't have to burn anything to get away, but it's a checking gank. And I think something that I wanted to talk about like 3 minutes ago or so that all the fights kind of detracted us from is we saw Drazhoki in that jungle start Machete double control ward, which I thought was really odd and may have actually led to him dying that first blood, was because he went to go throw up the early control and just got caught. But now we're seeing him with the Machete rejuve, no potions, no wards. And I meant to ask you why he decided to go with the ward start versus the bead start.
Well, more and more Warwicks have found that if they tune their runes a little bit and they play a little more conservatively, really, funnily enough, he gets punished for it, but I'll explain that in a moment. You don't actually need the rejuve bead. Of course, it does slightly increase the speed with which you get that Tiamat completed, but that's it. You don't actually need the sustain. You sustain quite nicely in the jungle with or without potions or beads. But what that allowed was him to get a very early control ward. Oh my goodness. That's he was winning that matchup just a moment ago, but now he's definitely going to be forced to back away.
He's gonna gnar out in just a second, which might do okay.
Well, what?
I don't know.
Well, there's, as I was saying before about the Warwick. That
Deadly Flourish not
going
gonna
in
connect
for aggressive trades under tower
as well.
Red Flame, what are you doing? Oh, there's no flash though. Wait, the minions, the red smite, no! Oh no!
Wow, unlucky. Control ward in that bottom lane is keeping the Warwick hidden. Deadly Flourish goes in, double dazzle.
No
the
summoners for the Draven.
Bard not surviving for long. Finally gonna go down. Xyleon on a killing spree. Disaster striking for the Savage Desperado bot lane.
What I wanted to mention, but I keep getting interrupted. Oh no, we're going to have a level 6 fight now. No!
Oh, suppression comes in. Sourbar. Ooh, actually misses, but the knockup from the bush. That's going to be a dead Kina eventually. There it is. Mela la 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 la.
Oh no.
And Sourbar is just ramming rampant down the lane. Smite being burned already for Joseki could be what Sourbar needs to pick up the first dragon. There's no vision, no Jin's coming up. They don't have support from Draven or Malzahar, though. They're forced to back away.
Walking down now. I want to finish my story about the Warwick. But anyway, you can see the reason why he went that pink ward start is because he was going to go straight from red buff to Scuttle Crab. Which, of course, Scuttle Crab doesn't fight back. It's an easy sustain target. You can get a couple Qs off of it, heal up a bunch of HP, and really make up for the fact you won't have pots for the first few levels. We're trading in the top lane. Damn.
Consig actually going for the
solo
he's
just going
kill.
For the all-in.
Doesn't have the Mega Gnar just yet, though. Does get the bounce. There's the Gnar.
This.
Wallop not going to connect. The Gnar does, but this is 50% cooldown. Gonna go down in the end. Died to a minion.
I'm not quite sure what Consig expected to happen there. I mean, that would have happened regardless of the changes to Nasus. Guess the whole point is you're playing Gnar to bully this Nasus, force him off with stacks of farm.
Reader
But
Rabbit making an appearance once again. Does have friends. Drziki has no mana though. Culling goes
I do
out.
like the prediction. Prediction W from the Rakan. He does predict the relentless pursuit from Lucian, but he doesn't take the bait and holds onto his dash. Manages to avert another crisis in the mid lane, but I can say this has definitely become a bloody game very quickly.
Yeah, we're at 8.5 minutes, 7 kills already in the bank. Could have been 8, could have been a kill a minute, but Kina didn't dash into the knock-up there.
Gotta say, it's a little questionable on why Drziki decided to buy that Reju bead afterwards. Because
yeah,
he went for the Bomb Sender first.
Yeah, looking like he's going for a pretty tanky build. Mololo flash in, gets the suppression. Sourbar trying to do as much damage as possible. Boomerang does not connect though. And no support from the VR Conseg roam. The knockup does land onto the Jhin. The the Cosmic Radiance comes in just in time, but Samano might be going down to keep his AD carry safe.
No, he's good. I like that a lot. Samano manages to save its ADC because he recognizes right away that his ADC is going to get bursted down. He ults essentially as early as possible.
Malefic Vision's in, trying to keep the tower safe, but Drziki's gonna die. Bounce comes in, you can't run away from that. Wallop, and that's all you need.
I mean,
good intentions.
Yeah, he wanted to cover the tower, right? Stop them from pushing that lane. Oh, what?
Ooh, Gnar's not going to connect, actually. VR Consig does have an alleyway of escape, though. Culling the... Oh, no! Kina, what are you doing? You greedy bastard! You get the kill, but you die. Gonna
really,
get the kill.
Both these teams are just butting heads constantly.
So the
Meanwhile,
lane,
the Nasus is split pushing.
The lane bully Lucian is 1-3-0 to his direct lane opponent 3-0-1 in the Malzahar. Already a lane and a half, not a lane, a wave and a half ahead of minions. And you said it, this could work out in Maylaw's favor. Mayo walls.
Mayo. Yeah, I mean, didn't expect it to go quite like this. These players just aren't playing smart. They're doing the most brute force options available. They're very projected in what they're trying to do constantly, and they keep getting punished back and forth. Both teams are not playing the smartest right now. They're not playing more conservatively. They need to just play safer. I mean, well, we got a 3-0 Mayo in the mid lane, and we got a 3-0 Xyleon in the bot lane. Just let your teammates carry through that mid game. They definitely have strong mid game spikes. No reason to keep on trying to accelerate this game over unsafe plays.
This Nasus still stacking up, sitting at 219 bonus damage at the moment.
Oh my goodness.
Xyleon gonna get the charmed up. The damage is there for Bardname. Gonna pick up his first cash in, not check-in. I'm actually curious how much he got for that.
There was just some more disrespect. There's flashes available on both the Draven and the Rakan. No reason to be pushing up halfway through the lane to try and get a couple extra minions. Let that crash into the tower. You don't have your support with you. You just need to play safe.
So I am a little curious. I've talked a fair bit about item pickups, so far this game. The Rakan actually going with the Spell Thieves still, even though we've been seeing pretty much everybody picking up coin no matter what. Even Alistar, a typical Targon champion, picking up coin. The most recent changes, instead of just constant passive gold, you can pick up mana and gold little doubloons. And then when you engage, if you've upgraded it enough and you completed the quest, you actually get move speed from your allies towards you.
Right. I'm a little confused. The first thought that comes to mind for why specifically he goes for that item build, he is playing against Taric and feels he can generate a lot of gold with the Frostfang build instead. But in general, I would say Definitely has the most gold generation out of the three so far. You can definitely get a lot more from it, and the mana regen is about equal. The AP ratios are not very high on Rakan as well. However, it may just come down to build path preference, because although the gold generation may be a little bit lower for the Spell Thieves build, the quest completed is definitely pretty nice on a Rakan, because you get that really nice burst of movement speed, but a dive.
There's the suppression. That's a dead Kina. Sourbar picking up his 3rd kill of the game. They're going to be picking up the mid tower as well.
With that, Savage Desperados have garnered themselves a gold lead. Really, though, it's going to be slowly approaching the point where this Nasus is no longer going to be bothered by the Gnar. He did fall behind early on. Gnar specifically did fall behind early on, and we can see he's having more and more trouble actually getting these leads. He's 2 levels down, and I really don't think he wants to fight that.
Yeah, the Wither,
take the farm, man.
Wither is a very fantastic deterrent there, as we just saw. To not jump in, gets the knockup, gets the 2-man dazzle. Cosmic Radiance going to come in just barely in time. The quickness, though, kind of cancels it out. 1 kill goes down for Bard. Does get Deadly Flourish locked up. Going to be going for the second one, though. Has Flash. Rabbit, I don't think you needed to do that, my friends. But apparently he was late for a very important date, and he's going to jump right back out.
Lucian's coming down, but they're both going to be able to walk away just fine. The roam from Kina is going to get nothing in return.
Gonna stop the backs.
Well, okay, he got something in return. We can see, though, despite them falling behind early on, giving a few kills over to the Jhin, their all-in potential is still very dangerous. Draven, in general, has a bunch of upfront power. The longer those 2v2s go on, the stronger it is for the Draven. At the same time, they are equal in items, so if they do wind up not capitalizing on the dazzle from Taric, they're just not going to win those all-ins.
Draven is also sitting 500 gold ahead. The Wither goes out. Spectrum's not going to land the Despair. Infinite Dress does connect, however. Gets the siphoning strikes in the back, but Draziki's going to pick up the kill for himself. Instantly channels that Rift Herald. Now Samano gets a 2-man dazzle all by himself. That should save him for now. The Dragon's not up for about 15 seconds, however.
They're going to get this tower easily in the top lane. They're not moving fast enough.
Minions died, though, so they won't be able to get the inhibitor one as well. Although, having just Draven here to defend it doesn't seem like the best idea.
They're going for a pinch.
See Rabbit and Sour coming up in the back. They do get 1 knockup. That damage out of Spectrum is absurd. Does get 1, gets 2. Can he get the 1v4? The answer is probably not, but it's, I thought he was going to get it. Shutdown finally coming in from the Draven. Curtain Call getting channeled. 1, 2, misses 3. Can he land 4? Cannot.
Oh, unlucky. They are going to continue to pressure this bottom tower, though.
Consig.
Is he going for the...
Consig!
What is he doing?
Consig, my friends, what are you doing? Wallop connects, but the Cosmic Radiance kind of shuts all that down. That is Samano picking up his first kill of the game, however.
I'm just not quite sure what Consig is doing with these aggressive plays. He goes in, which of course can be done by the Gnar. You just need to think about what you're actually doing, though. I mean, there was nothing that could have been accomplished with you burning your flash and then trying to insect them back into the tower with minions still taking aggro.
And you saw the Cosmic Radiance just negated all of the damage Consig does. Finally
wasn't much to begin with.
Yeah, I mean, he has that Black Cleaver completed with the Ninja Tabby. Probably going to be going for that Frozen Mallet next. Free 30 gold getting put down there by Draziki.
Uh-oh, we might have a little bit of an encounter in the mid lane. Oh, revealed himself, taking down that ward, but he just wants stacks, and he's already got a nice healthy dose of them. Quick look-see, he's already got 381 stacks. 384.
And you can see the build path he went. Oh, the two-man knockup. The Dazzle doesn't connect.
No Taric ulti either.
Xyleon does escape with
Warwick
his
is coming
life.
down, though.
Warwick gonna do everything he can. Gets the Infinite to rest, but the QSS already! Two-man knockup, and everybody is joining the party in the bottom lane. Shut down onto Xyleon. No,
he went for the Tyler 1 build. Ghost played into Mercurial, but in the end it didn't matter because there's just so much CC available. Fantastic flash dazzle.
As Health gets the suppression. QSS gonna go off as well.
Wait.
Sourbar can't escape the culling. Ignite goes in. Kina doesn't survive though. Sourbar
is going to stay alive. Barely manages to survive that last stick of the Ignite. And both summoners are burned for none on the side of Savage Desperados, but at the same time, look at how much pressure they're managing to exert in this bottom lane now. I do like the adaption in item build from the Nasus. Oh, they're just going for a dive. There's a Gnar available.
No Gnar coming out. No ultimate available for either of these members, though. That's a lot of tower shots to take. Rita Rabbit wants to get it. Drzoki finds himself a marksman, but I don't think he can 1v1 this. Does get the stand aside. Drzoki's already down below half HP. The knockup comes in on a both. Cosmic Radiance does connect. There's the Dazzle. Gets the damage. Rita Rabbit goes down. Spectrum picking up another kill for himself. Drzoki's going to get the fear. But Mayo Lol has joined the fight. A new fighter is joining the battle. And this is just disaster striking for the Kittens. Sourbar cleans up on the back
it's just
end.
Disaster in general. Both these teams just love fighting, don't they? And I would say it's definitely going to go in favor of the Toxic Kittens in the long run. They want that scaling up. As soon as Lucian can finally get a couple items complete, they're going to be a very deadly 1-3-1.
And this Nasus, I wanted to talk about the build before that whole series of events, has the Trinity Force, which is just massive damage, by the way, and then the Righteous Glory, something that we've been seeing on pretty much top laners in general. Doesn't matter what top laner it is. You pick up the Righteous Glory, you run in there, you kill somebody, and slow everybody else.
Yeah, no, it's working out great. He did go for the Sheen and the Glacial Shroud first two items. In fact, the Glacial Shroud first. He went really defensive early on.
That's not good.
QSS the red buff auto, huh? But anyway, oh my god, they're just trying to sneak a Baron and they have no idea. It's fantastic. But the reason for it, that build, is because he knew that this Gnar was just disrespecting his damage, disrespecting his tankiness, and he could take advantage of that, going for a Triforce very early on. And so far, he's managed to make it work. He gets the movement speed from the Phage, a little bit of extra AD, and he still gets the 20% CDR as well, meaning he can continue to stack just fine. And they managed to sneak a Baron 21 minutes in. Completely unaware.
I missed what mastery Spectrum took on the Nasus. Was it Storm Raiders?
I wonder if he prefers to still be called Red Flame. I have no idea.
If you want to be called a certain name, you should probably have that name. But pushes on in the
look it up.
And it's hard to defend this as Malzahar. Quickness goes in, gets two. They do end up getting nobody with the Dazzle. The slow on the Samano 3 uses the speed up. There's the ultimate from the Draven. Prolific Visions onto the Jhin as well. Here comes the curtain call. 1, 2,
they're just trying to delay
3, 4.
Nasus is pushing topside already.
Do connect. Nasus is on to the inhibitor turret. They cannot respond. They're only sending
Gnar. Gnar will not be able to solo this. He's going to die.
Well, even if he doesn't die, he can't stop him from taking the inhibitor. Xyleon, however, forced to burn the heal, gets the deadly
they're just
flourish.
stopping the backs, and they're going
Cosmic
to be
Radiance connects onto Drzoki. They do get the kill. Consig survives the mana pool. Xyleon gonna go down in the end.
He killed him.
There's the Nasus getting the kill.
They're not gonna be able to back. He can end.
QSS from Bard gets the knockup onto Drzoki. So the only one left in this mid lane is the Taric. He just has to stop the backs. Gets a two-man Dazzle!
He stopped all of them.
The Razzle Dazzle is in, and could this be the game?
What is Lucian doing? Go and help him at the Nexus. Oh my god. They don't manage to end the game, but they managed to stop so much and sacrifice, what, 3 kills in exchange for 2 of their own anyway? They've broken this base wide open. They've now got a huge amount of pressure. They're going to have to constantly deal with those super minions coming in from the top side, and they don't exactly have an easy pick for who they want to clear these waves. Of course, the teleport would make sense, so they'd want to probably have the Gnar stopped on this top side of the map. But he's just so far behind right now that it's going to take him forever to clear these supers.
Not only that, but you mentioned it. The Nasus will just straight up kill the Gnar. It happened at the inhibitor. Then he just takes the inhibitor and just like, okay, I'm taking towers now. What are you going to do about it? You're going to die. So the Nasus is in such a position now that he can do whatever he wants.
They're pressuring the middle lane now. Draven's going to have to try and stop that first wave of supers coming in now, and the Ocean Drake is available.
The ping coming from the Nasus says, hey, I'm going bot. I'm just going to farm some more guys. But we can already see Desperados are working to collapse upon him. Wither comes
They don't want to do that.
Oh!
They do not want to do that.
Righteous Glory into the ultimate! He gets the slow onto Sour Bar.
So he's gonna go
Sour
for it.
Bar! Holy moly! Gets withered, gets bounced back. The dragon comes in. The strike goes down. And that is Spectrum picking up yet another kill. The wither lands on the consig. Two-man Dazzle Reader. Rabbit, you are not long for this world. Actually, I may have spoke too soon. It is Spectrum finally going to go down in the end.
They killed Malzahar in the mid lane, though, and they're taking another tower in the middle lane.
Super still in that top side. Going to be crashing into the lone
Or
Nexus
not.
tower not too long.
Why are they taking blue buff? There were 4 people bottom. Interesting. Strange diversion of resources. They could definitely have taken that inner tower and then picked up the blue buff on the way back. But instead, they're fine with continuing to draw pressure from this Nasus. They really are not playing to their win condition, though. They see how strong this Nasus is. They had the Baron buff for a while. Obviously, that is gone now. They didn't fully capitalize on it, though. Could have kept going.
So they got the Ocean Drake. They're still down a dragon, though. Desperados having that Earth Drake over them. And so now the team's reset. There's no large objective for quite a while now. But they do have that very big Nasus, however. 40 CS ahead of his lane opponent. We can already see him making his way back down to the bottom lane. Righteous Glory is ready. But if he keeps going for those dives like that, I'm not sure how much longer he's going to stay ahead.
They need to have the Malzahar match the Nasus. He's the only tank killer that can deal with him right now. There's no MR on Red Flame yet. He doesn't have the Merc Treads or the Swifties, so those Rylai's and that ultimate suppression is going to deal the full effect. And he's got the Leandries to keep shredding at targets, but they keep sending him mid lane to keep getting punished by these dual ADCs now.
All 4 shots ring out. Don't think anybody below 100 HP realistically. Spectrum, though, farming up in that bottom lane, taking actually a lot of damage from Conseil. Gives it back quite heartily, though.
He's already got the Bloodlust Elixir as well. He really wants to keep trying to for these trades. He's got Ocean Drake as well.
Blue turret in the middle lane going down. There's no tier 2s remaining.
Going to keep pressuring. They should have 4 people in the middle lane. The Malzahar's not matching this. Just keep going for the trades. Inhibitor's almost up as well. They might just transfer this Nasus to the top lane, but it looks like they really want to brute force this when they don't have to. A lot of hesitation. They can take this top inhibitor.
So the silence is coming in from Mayo. Really clutch, putting tons of damage onto both Kina and Xyleon. But he's not exactly in the best position. I mean, he has to be solo clearing these waves. Yes, he has 6 kills, 3 items to his name, but it's rough for the Desperados right now. Consig gonna miss the wall up. Deadly Flow's not going to connect either. There's the Battle Dance, doesn't connect. Reader Rabbit is so low. There's the Fear coming in. Savage gets the kill. Xyleon goes down. Suppression from Mayo locks him in place just long enough to die. Nasus is hitting the mid lane tower as I speak. Bard cannot fight with the Lucian. Gets out. Flash for flash. Keena's going to die in the end. Doesn't matter. Reader Rabbit throws him with a feather. But Spectrum gonna get, at the very least, 1 inhibitor. Dazzle doesn't connect. Xyleon gets jumped on. Gets exhausted. Doesn't get knocked up. Reloads. Can he get the auto? Gets the auto. Benson grenade isn't enough. Now it's a 3v1. Samano's
This is
doing
just
everything
ending the
he can.
game.
Yeah, Samano's just gonna stop the backs. Turret goes down. 50% CDR. That's game one, ladies and boys. He's going for kills. He's going for kills. He gets the kill.
He's got a creep block. He's got a creep block.
50 gold, 2 Spectrum.
+6.
So that is game number 1 of Savage Desperados versus Toxic Kittens. We had our doubts about the draft, and then Nasus happened.
Yeah, alright. That was disgusting.
Just Nasus things. And it seemed like they simply did not have an answer to it. The Nasus...
They forced themselves to not have an answer to it. Really, when it came down to it, Nasus is very one-dimensional, especially in a 5v5 setting. This isn't solo queue. You can absolutely communicate with your teammates. They had options. First of all, you have a very strong Malzahar with exhaust, with Rylai's Liandry's, absolutely shredding bruisers and tanks that don't have MR. Nasus did not buy a single MR item that game, and in fact even stacked things like the Righteous Glory and the Sterix Gauge, which give a lot of HP but not a lot of resistances. That's tons of Rylai's tons of Liandry's and DFT shredding material. Second, Gnar did not adapt his build. We saw actually today, in fact, in the Dignitas versus Immortals series, Dignitas, they had Someday with a gold lead on the Gnar, but he still didn't opt into going for the full damage split push build. He went Black Cleaver, yes, but he went full tank afterwards, because Frozen Mallet is a very, very expensive item, and if you don't have faith in your ability to really effectively split push with that item, it's essentially useless. It's essentially just giving you HP then, because there's no defensive stats for it. You may as well consider it just as strong an offensive item as something like a Blade of the Ruin King. It doesn't provide you any utility in a defensive matchup. So as soon as you realize that you can no longer 1v1 this Nasus effectively, you adapt the build. As well as really just diverting resources. I'm going to have to relog. Diverting resources to shut down this Nasus correctly. They had such a strong mid-jungle duo, you just have the top lane and the bot lane cover waves for a while, which they can do. They don't have Toxic Kittens do not have the greatest siege team in the world. Yes, they have double ADCs, but they don't really want to dive either. You can keep that equalized. You have the Kha'Zix waiting in the jungle. You have either the Gnar or the Malzahar. I prefer the Malzahar covering the 1v1 with the Nasus, and you just gank him with the strong Kha'Zix. They can kill him in the 1v2 very, very effectively. He doesn't have any MR. He obviously doesn't have a QSS. So ulti him and burst him down. But instead, they kept on forcing these 1v1s with the Gnar matching it because they valued the TP status over actually stopping the Nasus himself, and wound up getting punished for it.
And as you guys can see, the Nasus damage was actually fairly low when you consider what he was doing. You know, actually doing 200 damage less than the Malzahar and only about 100 damage more than the Gnar. But all of this is yet to be seen if it can translate to a second game. So while LoveDi relogs and while the teams sort of set up with their coaches one more time, we will be right back, guys. So stay tuned. We got plenty more League of Legends action coming right at you.